You might notice behind me there's a van set up here, and it's got something to do with today's video. About a week or two ago, I was contacted by someone called Dan on Messenger who follows my YouTube channel. So he doesn't have a YouTube channel, he doesn't have a YouTube channel name. I've got quite a few followers that follow my channel that are not able to comment because, to be frank with YouTube, you have to sign up. Just by watching my videos, the longer you watch them through, particularly the ads, if you let the ads play through, then you're going to support my channel better than any other way. It's got an awesome vehicle set up here. It's got a Landcruiser 200 and it's got a Caravan. And guys, we're not so much going to do a video on the Caravan or the vehicle. He uses Victron Gear. That's right. In both these vehicles, both inside his Landcruiser and his Caravan, he's got very similar setup to what I've got in my vehicle. Including in his Landcruiser, he's also got an upright fridge. So he's just been putting all this gear to the test over the last 3 months. And what interests me a lot with these setup, guys, is that he is using one of these custom built 280 amp hour lithium batteries. It's got a continuous discharge of 250 amps. Now this one is custom built here in Australia by a guy down in Melbourne. I believe he's from Melbourne. If you follow his Facebook group, it's called Powerpaul. So it's Powerpaul Australia. P-O-W-E-E. Let's try again. P-O-W-E-R-P-A-U-L. So it's a 280 amp hour lithium battery. You can fully discharge it down to 280 amps. Although I wouldn't recommend it go all the way down to 280 amps. It's always a good idea to leave that 10 or 15% charge left in your vehicle. But if you're in an emergency and you really need that power, you're not going to kill your battery if you take it down 100%. So we're going to have a look at that for the first time. I've never seen these batteries before, so I'm really keen to have a look. He's got two of them, not just one, he's got two. One in the Landcruiser and another one in the Caravan. So we're going to have a look at both setups. His setup in the Landcruiser is very similar to my setup in the back of my Pajero here. But he's got a much bigger setup in the Caravan itself. We'll go over there and I'll get you to meet Dan shortly. He's having lunch right now because he's just been over to the Bundy Rum and he's just had some drinks over there. No, he's done the rum tour. So if you've never done the Bundy Rum tour, it's really worthwhile checking out. So he's been in Bundy for the last couple of days. We won't annoy him right now because he's having his lunch. But as soon as he's finished his lunch, we'll go over there and we'll check out his vehicle. So we'll probably have a look at the Landcruiser first. Now he's got some 240 volt electrical gear. So he's got a big air fryer. And we're going to put it to test and see what sort of amps, wattages he gets through it. I want you to meet Dan.
How you going, Phil?
How are you, Dan? Thanks for contacting me. You got Victron Gear.
I do.
So you're happy with it?
I've been converted, yep. I've had all the other stuff, Red Arc, had that over the years. And originally started probably as everyone does with just that solid state solenoid. Once you turn the key on, it just lets power through to the second battery, back when we all had lead acid stuff. Yeah. Started with that, had a bit of Red Arc and a few other bits and pieces, and then we were planning this 3-month lap of Queensland, and we wanted to focus a bit more on off-grid, so did a lot of research, the YouTube University they call it, yeah. And come across Victron, and then just went down the big rabbit hole on YouTube of chasing information about Victron and lithium and all that. And that's what we ended up with, and I can tell you I haven't looked back. Yeah,
no, it's good stuff, eh?
It's good stuff.
As you know, I can vouch for it. I love the Victron. As I mentioned, Dan, it's very similar setup to what I've got in the back of my vehicle. Remember in one of the videos that I've recently filmed where I mentioned what I've got in the back there will be right at home in any caravans out there. You could use this in any caravans. In fact, not just caravans, it's actually designed for also the marine industry, guys. A lot of folks that live full-time out on the water in the salt environment, they choose to use Victron, because Victron is designed for these type of conditions when you're out in these salty environments. And in fact, I believe they've even covered the boards in some type of rust proofing so the salt doesn't get into the electronics and rust them out. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, no. I did know they had a marine history, but yeah, I didn't know the specifics of what they do inside there, yeah.
If you're camping in a lot of, like we are, right next to the coast, although we are probably 10 k's from the coast now, but we still get a lot of the salt air blown over. Mainly if you're kind of within 3-4 k's of the coast where you'll find that issue. I know because I used to repair computers, and anyone who used to live within 3-4 k's of the beach, they were lucky to have their computers last 2 years. Landcruiser 200, which has to be the icon for Australia for driving, hasn't it?
For full driving, for towing, definitely. It's in my book, it's a must, I reckon. So that'll turn some people off, but hey.
There's not a lot out there you can get that's much better than that.
That's right.
But you've also got an Aussie-built caravan I see here, the Kedron.
Yeah.
They're made in Brisbane, aren't they?
Down in Brisbane, in Kedron, yeah. Kedron's the actual suburb where they are. And some people might have seen their DVDs, and I think they're on YouTube as well, the Ghoul Boys. That's the ones that actually build Kedron Caravans. Their dad started the company, I can't remember when, long time ago, and they've been building them ever since and making them better. So, and they do all the testing themselves, dragging them where you shouldn't drag a caravan to test them out. So, and yeah, this is an 06 model, top ender, and it's a great little van, exactly what we wanted, and yeah, kitted it out with all the blue goodies.
We're at the back of the Landcruiser here now, so I'll get Dan to tell what he's got here. He knows the vehicle more than I do, so what have you got here, Dan?
Okay, rightio. Very quickly, it's a 2013 model 200 series Landcruiser, auto, obviously. They never came out in manual in Australia, and we've set it all up for our 3-month lap of Queensland. BMW 4.5 ton GVM upgrade, that's why it's got the bigger wheels and tyres on it and everything like that. But in the back here for our secondary living quarters, I guess you could call it, because we did the Cape for 2 weeks without the van, just in some swags, and so yeah, I sort of had that in mind when I sort of got this all designed up. So it's just your standard sort of draw system with your wings over your wheel arches. So nice big deep drawers, full length right to the rear seats. I like the idea, I've seen it in a video somewhere, and I like the idea of this little skinny sort of pull out tray. You can put some, I just keep basic hand tools for, you know, just fixing things up and whatever on the road, and it's mainly got all my other bigger tools and spare parts and whatnot in there. And at the front here is just, you know, spray tins and stuff like that, and the jet ball quick access too. So that's mainly what the big drawer is all about. This wing here is just air hoses and stuff. There's a tarp in there, a couple of breaker bars and stuff. The airbag valves to pump them up, let them down, and air outlet there. I've got an ARB twin compressor with the 200 series bracket, all lives in behind the kick panel here, and also the air tank, 2 litre or 4 litre, something like that, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they're 2.5 litres.
Are they 2.5?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Actually, it could be 4 litres. I don't know.
I don't know. I
should know. I've got the same one. But
it works.
But basically, after you've owned this for a while, that's the beauty. When you've got something that works, you just kind of forget that it's there. And you forget 100%. What it is, and you forget, you know, what the quantity is. When you need it, you just go hit a switch and then plug it in, away you go, and that's it. And exactly after 4 or 5 years, you know, oh God, what compressor do I have in my vehicle again? Hey, you got the upright fridge.
Bushman.
Ah,
yes.
the Bushman, guys. Look at this.
Bushman,
hey?
65 upright.
Yes,
My first upright I've ever had.
First upright. Yes.
Yep. And I do love it. That's for sure.
Oh, he's got one of those.
the ruby tag.
He's got the ruby tags. He's got the white ones. One more extra feature on that one that I don't have on mine is yours has got a barometer on it as well.
It does, yeah. It comes up on the graphs on the app, yeah.
So it'll tell you when it's going to rain.
Yeah. Yep.
Not that you'll need that, Brett Hooker. You wouldn't need that. Do you know Brett Hooker?
He's got his built in, doesn't he? It just follows him everywhere.
He is a barometer.
Yeah. He's nowhere near us. Look at this. Sorry, Brett. Sorry.
He might have been. Were you in around Bundaberg yesterday, Brett? Because it was pissing down rain all day yesterday.
Absolutely. Yep.
We're a little bit worried about this.
Yeah, a little bit.
So you've got awesome setup here. So I see you've got a 240 volt.
Yep, 240 input because.
You got the outlet there.
And the outlet, yep. We'll tell you all about that very shortly.
And that's what we're going to do right now, guys. We're going to show you that shortly. But I love the way he's done this setup. Now you saw my draw build when I built mine. When I initially was going to build it, I had an idea of doing something like this. And now that I see it, I wish I did because it's utilising a lot of the space that don't get used up the top here as well. So there's a lot of space there. It's got the digital multi-control. So if you follow my channel, you know what that is. That's to do with the Victron. So we're going to go in and show you this Victron Gear very shortly.
You might see this little slot here.
Yeah, it's got the slot there, which is another, I thought, I had this. This is another thing I did have an idea on doing that. So that's for you.
That's the Bunnings slot. Yep. You go to Bunnings and get your little blow mold table, and that just slips straight in there. And that was the best idea. I didn't have it originally, but for this build, the best thing I did was put that in there because you can pull it out for roadside stops. You got your little bench for making everything. It's low enough that you can still open the fridge when you got all your stuff out making your sambos and whatnot.
You can take stuff directly out the fridge, and you can open. It's not going to get in the way.
Exactly. Yep.
It's and then you can design.
Take it out and use it, which you'll see later. We've got set up for the van for some testing.
I like how you got the kitchen.
Yeah, that actually come with it. He actually put that on when he built it. So
he would have bought that from Bunnings because I recognise that from Bunnings.
Yep, that's exactly where it come from. And then a couple of dividers that I haven't. I never screwed them down. They're a tight enough fit that I can just shape them to whatever I want in here. And yeah, that was just a bit of a knick-knack draw.
Good Milwaukee gear. Woo, I'm into Milwaukee.
Yes, Milwaukee's good stuff.
Yeah.
So but yeah, Charger and the old Woolies bags and whatnot.
Is this hang on, sorry, is that one of these screwing pegs?
Yes.
Who makes this? This looks a lot more heavy duty than what I normally see.
A company called Easy Anchor make them.
And these look really strong.
Yep. Rock, gravel, sand to a degree if it's hard packed sand, and that's the orange top that they come with. So you drive them into the ground on a bit of an angle, and then you can hook whatever you want into it, tie down your awnings, tents. And they use this Torx bit in the gun which comes with them to screw them in the ground.
So you get these with it?
Yep, that comes with it. And I think you can buy them individually, packs of 6, 12 and so on. I just got a heap in there. They're better than a hammer and peg, that's for sure. Well, when we went up through the back of Queensland and up towards Mount Isa and Corumba and looking around there, it's all dirt gravel sites and everything. The caravan parks from free sites, and they go into Milwaukee Light. You seen them?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't. Oh, they're magnetic.
Yeah, magnetic. Yeah, that's great, especially under the bonnet. If you're doing something under the bonnet, they're great.
Yeah, no, they're handy. I've got quite a few magnetic lights. They're those kick-ass ones, and they also got a mode in there. Looks like a police. Have you seen them?
I don't think I have. No.
I'll have to show you.
Yeah, show me later. That'll be good. Yeah.
Right, let's go have a look at this Victron gear. What we're here for.
Perfect.
Dan's inside the vehicle, obviously, and he's going to run over exactly what he's got here.
All right, guys. A quick run through the electrical system in here. Blue Beauty, of course. Victron. The battery I'm running is a Powerpaul Australia 1,000 mAh 220 volt 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 220 280 amp 12 volt lithium battery. I come across him on Facebook, had great reviews, his specs are really good, and so I purchased two of them, one for the car and one for the caravan. You'll see a bit later. So the battery here, we've got our 12 volt 30 amp DC to DC charger, and then we've got the Multiplus, similar to Phil's, 12 volt 2080 amp charging. Great device, does everything we need. We've got the Victron smart shunt down in here tucked away, main isolator switch and fusing and everything down here. We might be able to show you a bit later because it's obviously a compact little setup there. We've got the Egon DC hub for our 12 volt distribution, and then behind my beautiful knees here, just a little 120 Victron solar controller, which we haven't had to use, to be honest. We've done enough driving that the battery's always
keeps it in charge.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, no, it's a nice setup.
We'll run through some testing on the caravan, which is similar setup to this, just a bit more muscle behind it. But yeah, for the car, running the fridge, a couple of outlets, and obviously some 240 volt appliances. It's an awesome. It's literally set and forget. You can just pull up any time. Yeah, that's great. Plug in, away you go. So, but these batteries, unreal. I love them. I love them. I
they're
really
good, eh?
do. They are really good. You'll see on the caravan testing what they're capable of.
Yeah, we're going to put the Dan's got one on the same battery in the caravan, which we'll quickly show you shortly. Yep. And we're going to put it to the test with some of this Victron Gear.
Yep.
What he's got in the caravan is very similar to this, but the inverter is a little bit higher capacity. This is a 2000 VA, which is 1600 watts.
1600 watts, that's correct.
You've got the 3000 VA,
and that's 2400,
which is 2400 watts.
Yep.
But that's pretty conservative because it'll do a lot more than that.
It'll overload up to 5000 watts for a certain amount of time, depending on ambient temperature. I was very keen to have a look at, so it's the first time I've seen them. So very well built battery by the looks of it. Very. He's very transparent on his Facebook page about how he builds them, what's inside, the testing he does. He is very transparent with what he does. I recommend check him out 100%. One of my popular videos I filmed just over a year ago is which battery I'm going to choose. I didn't have this option at the time, or he might have been around. I think I read on his Facebook page going for 2 years. 2 years, yeah. That was a recent post. I do remember that. I did not hear of Powerpaul Australia until probably not long after I did purchase my iTech World battery, but this would have been absolutely perfect for me, guys. And what I've really taken notice is the actual size of the battery. It doesn't look like it's any larger. I'm going to go grab a tape measure later, because I'm curious to see if one of these will actually fit in the original spot where I got my battery. But I'd love to get a 280 amp in my car. He does a 330 battery. It's called a Mercury. Yes. And they are wicked, but the wait time when I was looking to purchase was longer than I could go. That's right. So we've got the 280s. But you won't go wrong with that battery, eh? You'll order a couple as soon as we do that testing. You'll be on the blower to him ordering a couple. More money. Alright, what you're seeing here is the setup inside the caravan. As you can see, it's got the same Powerpaul 280 amp battery with a continuous discharge of 250 amps. That is continuous, guys. Continuously can discharge from that battery 250 amps. So you can see there, it's got the Lynx distributor, similar to what I just recently installed on my vehicle. It's got the Victron DC charger. Looks like you got MPPT. You got the 3120, which is will charge at 120 amps, and that battery will take all the 120 amps plus some more. Look at this beautiful wiring, guys. Look how nice and neat that is. How awesome is that? There's all his breakers, fuses, etc. on the left hand side there. So this is what powers the caravan. Got solar panel on the roof as well. Solar panels from 2006, still going strong. Oh sweet. We're going to put this gear to the test now, guys.
So what we've got here, so we're powering off the Caravan. We've got two external power points here, 240 volt outlets. So we're running off the Victron Gear and that 280 amp hour battery. We've got the Victron Connect app screen here that's going to show you the discharge, the power that's it's discharging, the amps and the wattage as well. So we've got a Ninja air fryer oven, and we've got a 240 volt kettle here as well, and we're going to run them at the same time, aren't we?
We are. They'll run at the same time.
Yeah.
So the kettle is 1850 watts, rated at 220 volts.
Sweet.
And then the air fryer, I think, is 16.
That probably would be 1600 watts, is it?
1550.
1550. It's the same as mine. It's the same as my big air fryer. It's 1550. Can you run that off from your vehicle? Have you ever tried?
Yeah.
It can run.
It can run. Yeah. I've got the twin version at home, and when I installed that in the car and I was doing some testing, it'll almost run the twin one. It goes into overload, but then it will cut out because the twin one at home is twin.
It runs this no problem. See,
that's right.
Mine at home, my big Taste the Difference Air Roaster Pro, it's 1550 watts as well, which is similar to this Ninja one here, but I can't run it because of my battery.
Oh, your battery's a limiting factor.
Yeah, the battery's limited to a maximum 150 amps.
Yep.
And even that's a bit too high. I've noticed that 150 amps, if I run it continuously for more than 10 minutes or so, the battery gets really hot.
Ah, okay. Yep.
So when you're running at 1550 watts on 240 volt, it's going to draw something like probably 160 amps thereabouts.
So currently as we sit, we've got the inverter turned on, the battery is sitting at 99%, and the voltage is currently 13.33 volts. The current is at the moment minus 1.9. That'll be the fridge running and the solar putting in. That sort of goes up and down a little bit here and there. Currently a minus 25 watts power. So far consumed, since I unplugged at the caravan park to come out here to meet Phil, we've used 1.8 amps, and currently at minus 1.8 amps usage, we've got 6 days and 17 hours left. But that changes rapidly with your light.
Dan's going to switch these two items on now, guys, so watch this. Remember, we're not connected to any shore power. There's no generator, although he does own a generator. He does use a generator on this, and you're probably familiar with the power assist feature.
Yes, I am, and it works lovely.
It does.
Okay, so this is the air fryer going on at 200 degrees. There we go. We should see some figures change. Yep, so that air fryer rated at 1550 watts is up around 130 amps, 126. It says power usage on there is 1640 watts because you've obviously got losses through the inverter and everything like that. And at that we could run it for 3 hours. And you ready for the kettle?
Yeah.
There's the kettle on now.
This is both the same time. Whoa, look at that. 4,527 watts.
Yep.
Now remember guys, this is rated at 2400 watts.
and it'll be running in overload. There'll be a red light flashing inside saying, hey, what are you doing?
And the voltage is still at 12.32.
Yep. How impressive is
that? So we are pushing a current of pushing close to 370 amps.
There'll be a little bit of solar helping there, so you might be up around maybe 380, 385 amps if there was no solar. Pretty
wow,
crazy, hey?
That's incredible. Holy truth.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Not that you need to run things like that at the same time.
That's impressive.
The screen cut out, that's why we stopped. Sorry about that, but
so I was watching the battery percentage rate. It was still sitting on 99%. And normally I could see mine goes and I turned around. You probably remember I turned around and I heard it and I said, yeah, it is on. And I go, hang on, I'm looking at the wrong side of the screen.
Yeah.
So it's giving all the figures here.
Down on the right hand side
so
there, yep.
This gives you an idea of the quality of this Victron Gear, but also the importance, which you'll totally 100% agree, to match the correct battery with the Victron Gear. Now that's where I've gone wrong, guys. I don't have the correct battery matched with my Victron Gear. So now if I did, my Taste the Difference air fryer that draws, this actually seems to run more efficient than mine.
Oh, have you got it here?
No, I didn't bring it.
Oh.
It's a shame.
We could have tested it.
I would have, yeah, I would have loved to. I would have loved to have seen if it was the same, because when I've noticed, I know you got solar panels on there, but I don't think they wouldn't be putting in as much as 30.
Not with the clear
30 amps at this stage.
The sun keeps disappearing every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
But what I notice is difference is that when he had the...
we'll have a look with the solar. Currently the sun's just ducked behind a cloud.
Yeah.
But the solar is currently only putting in 1.7 amps. But when the sun
amps.
when the sun comes out, it might bump up to maybe 10, 8 or 10.
Maybe 10 at the most. So that was drawing 127 amps, which is kind of interesting, because mine, when I use mine, it's drawing 155, 160.
Might be a little bit more inefficient, I'm not sure. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. It's a shame I don't have it with me, because I would have loved to have plugged it in this system to see if it draws the same. So
Can always do that later.
you know, we could always plug that into mine.
Like, yeah, and see what it does. If you want, yeah. Stand by, folks.
Let's do that. Let's plug this thing into my system and see what it's drawing.
He's actually just going to ring Powerpaul and just order a couple of batteries. That's what he's doing.
I can't afford them now. Can you imagine having 2 of those batteries in your vehicle?
Oh, it'd be ridiculous.
And having something like close to 600 amps.
Oh, ridiculous.
I could go camping and I wouldn't have to take a solar panel with me.
No, that's right.
So,
like, I haven't needed one on the car.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah,
you
I don't need
have
one on
not
the car.
had to use one in your car.
That's
and
right.
that was the same with me when I spent 10 days over in Fraser Island. You know, I bought a solar panel with me. I only took it out the vehicle once in 10 days. That was only to take a photo.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Look what I brought.
That was the only time.
Yeah,
I did not, because I was moving each day, and my DC charger, which I've got the Red Arc 50 amp, I got the big one, that kept my battery fully charged every day.
Yep.
So, and it worked brilliant. So I could have got away without bringing the solar panel.
Yep, that's
So,
right. Yeah, we haven't needed it, so...
Yeah, but let's try this test and see what this thing draws on my system. I'm really curious to see now. And this is going to be a really interesting test right now. So just excuse my back. We plugged in. I'm just going to turn it on to AC now. So I'll get Dan to... It's inverting.
Yep.
Alright. Yep, you want to turn this on?
We're going to air fry exactly the same
So
settings we had on the
same
Caravan.
settings we had before.
200 degrees, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Let's go. Let's see what it shows. What is it drawing? Yeah, 158 amps.
I wonder if that's
Same as
battery
mine.
inefficiencies or something, maybe. In
I don't know. Well, yours was down to 125.
Yeah.
All right.
Call it
turn
100
off now.
Call it 135 to eliminate any solar we were getting.
Yeah, so I
mine,
got no solar. So yeah, so yours would be about that.
About 135.
So that's interesting, guys. When we plugged into his system there, we'd probably average worked out 135.
Without solar,
So
which I can turn the solar controller off and we can actually get an exact amp reading if you want. But yeah, I would guesstimate around 135. So
it's an overcast day, so I doubt the solar panel's going to make much difference anyway, to be honest. But something I'm going to look into and get back onto you on that. There we are. Get a bit closer. Move in a bit more. Yep, a bit closer to me.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You're taller than
I
me.
am tall, yeah. I can do this for a minute or two.
This can go in the bloopers because that's filming.
Oh, is it? Okay, good. Yeah, you could do a little bloopers roll at the end. That'll be alright.
Yeah, well, this will be a blooper.
Yeah. Phil's interactions with
stay
tall
till
people.
the end. I've got some bloopers to show you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
How's that? That's,
hang on, if I go
good.
like this and you...
No, yeah, I'll go down, you go. Where's the milk?
Hang on, you go down and up. Let's try this again. You go...
How's that? Do you want to feel tall for the day?
Hey! Oh my God. Wow. How interesting. 2 points I picked out there that I've noticed is a bit different to my setup. The really interesting thing, guys, is why does that Ninja only consumes 120, well, we work out 135 amps, and mine's 158. So we basically got the same Victron Gear. The only difference is the battery.
Yep, and you got a bit smaller inverter, so maybe it's got more losses in there the higher the amperage goes, maybe. So it's got to compensate.
You know
what
would be another really interesting test to run it on
my car.
Your car, because you got the same 2000
that's
VA
correct.
as mine, but you've got the updated model.
Yep, yeah.
So
we'll do that off camera and just give them the results.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth.
Sorry.
We're thinking alike. We're going to do that off camera, and then I'll let you know what the results are. But keep an eye out for another video in the future, and I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to look into it and try to find out what the outcome is. Thank you, Dan.
No worries.
It's great to meet you.
I knew you'd enjoy it. That's why I got in contact with you. I knew you'd love the big blue stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Well, so do I.
But I'm just flabbergasted on the difference on the amperage draw with the same unit. So we didn't run it too long, because they say recommended continuous discharge is 150. It will run for 175 for 5 minutes. But I've found those figures, I've not been able to achieve those figures, but I have done a few changes to help to keep the battery cooler, and I think it has helped a lot by installing the Lynx distributor. Surprisingly, the Lynx distributor has helped in reducing the battery temperature down. It's taken off a lot of the cables that are connected to your battery, whereas before I had to have a few positive cables on the battery, particularly when you're looking at drawing huge amps.
Like less connections and the less joints.
Yes.
Less resistance.
Exactly.
Works better.
And that's why both of us have gone for the Egon DC hub. Less connections, less joints. Less connections on your battery. These are really important things that you need to consider when you're setting up a setup like this and you want to run these 240 volt utensils off grid. Because you can also run your air conditioner.
I can, yes, and it's still the original 2006 air conditioner, so it's just on or off. It's an old clunker. It's not an inverter or anything like that. It runs at about 90 to 100 amps off the battery, off the 12 volt system to run that air conditioner on cold. We would show you, but about a week and a half, 2 weeks into our trip, we got to Longreach. I wanted to use the heat one night, we were in a caravan park. I wanted to use the heat, turned it on, and started smelling a bit of an electrical burning smell. And just as I jumped up off the bed to turn it off, the circuit breaker, the main input circuit breaker, tripped, and I went, oh, I don't know what's going on here. So I waited a bit, make sure there was no smoke or anything happening, and then just disconnected it, and we haven't touched it since. But if you had an inverter aircon, you know, like the Dometics and whatnot of the world, this battery, the Victron Gear, it would run it like it's not even there. 100%.
Awesome. Yeah,
especially if you got the solar to back it up.
Yeah.
Holy dooly.
Yeah, if you got the solar, makes a big difference. So the technology's changed so much now. You wouldn't even think of stuff like this 5-6 years ago.
No way.
You know, even 2 years ago, really, in reality, the cost. But now these items are coming more affordable for us to use. So we're implementing technology that's been proven in the marine industry, and you're not going to find a more testing environment for this type of gear. So these Victron Gear are designed for these type of environments. So if you want something that's going to last a long time, you will not go wrong if you go for your Victron Gear. So, right,
100%.
it's going to turn out a longer vehicle. Why
You're loving
vehicles. Vehicle, hey. Imagine if
he
I
wants
end
a
up buying
200.
a caravan.
That's the problem. He wants a 200.
Yeah, I saw that 200. It's nice.
It is nice.
Tell you what, though, I wouldn't want to pay the fuel, though.
Oh, you don't want to see the fuel bill for this 3-month lap. And of course, Murphy's Law, like the few months leading up to before we left, the fuel prices were just going up and up and up, and you know,
Yeah.
typical my luck. When we started planning all this, diesel was, you know, $1.30, $1.20.
I know, well, at one stage it was like, I went to one place and it was like $1.10.
Oh really?
Yeah, down the Gold Coast. Not
Bugger.
long ago,
Bugger.
before the prices went crazy,
Yep.
I was buying diesel for $1.10. It was
Yeah.
just crazy, it was just amazing.
The most we paid
Wow.
was $2.70 on this trip. We paid that-
$2.70?
Yeah, that was.
So obviously you haven't been to Fraser Island yet.
No, we haven't been. This vehicle hasn't been to Fraser yet. Actually, it's been Bribey. We did a bit of a test trip when I got it to Bribey, but no, it hasn't been to Fraser yet. So.
$3.50 a litre on Fraser Island, guys. $3.50 a litre. It's more expensive in Fraser Island than it is in the centre of Australia. I could drive for 4 or 5 days to get to the centre of Australia, long days driving, and the diesel will be cheaper there than it is on Fraser Island. In Fraser Island, they only got to bring a truck half an hour, probably even 15 minutes on the barge that goes from Inskip Point, 15 minutes on the barge, and about an 80k drive up the beach, or 100 k's for the furthest fuel station north on the island, on a beach at low tide that's better to drive on than the Bruce Highway.
Yes, 100%.
And they charge $3.50 a litre. Now work that one out. I can't work it out.
We haven't got calculators that can work that out yet.
No.
Victron are working on it.
Yeah, it's crazy, guys.
It is.
But don't let the cost of fuel stop you from going there, because it's places worthwhile visiting.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me, Dan. It's great to have someone in the video with me for a change.
Yeah, it'd be
instead
good,
of me being on my own. Great spot here. There's people down the bank here fishing. I haven't seen them catch a thing yet, but that's Bundy for you.
Yeah.
Buck. Hey, Buck. Do you know Mr. Buck?
I've been following Buck for a long time.
He caught a fish. He caught a fish. I kid you not.
Oh, yeah.
He caught 3 fish. He went and paid.
Crumb fish, was it?
Yeah, no, he actually did. It was someone filmed it, and it looked like Buck, unless it was a look-alike.
A doppelganger.
A doppelganger.
Yeah.
So maybe, hang on.
He caught a fish.
Maybe Buck. I don't know. Was it really you?
Yeah. Come on, Buck. Tell us the truth.
He went on a fishing charter in Townsville.
Oh yeah, right.
And he went miles out to sea. And someone filmed Buck pulling in nice big, I think they were coral trout.
Oh, true. He'd be loving it.
I think I can hear a drone. Coral trout about this big.
Yeah, right.
Well, according to Buck, they were this big.
Yeah, this big. I'll do one hand, you do the other.
Hang on, hang
dear.
on. We
yeah, it was about.
It was this big.
Definitely that big, and then you had to hold it in the middle too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ross was holding it in the middle,
fish.
and middle. It is a drone.
Yeah, just up there.
Sweet. It drones everywhere, guys.
We're being filming.
Okay, guys, before the battery goes flat, in fact the battery did go flat, I'm powering this off the 240 volt in my vehicle. So if it was not for the 240 volt in the vehicle, we wouldn't be filming this right now, because I'll be probably trying to charge the battery.
Yeah, that's right. Out of the cigarette lighter.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have one of those chargers for that. Actually, I do, but it's very slow charger.
I could imagine.
So,
imagine. Victron for the win.
Yeah, so Victron is just a game changer by far. So, as always, take care, look after yourself, and get out there, enjoy yourself, go camping, and thank you, Dan, once again,
not a
for
problem.
contacting me.
Yep.
And if there's anyone else out there wants to do something similar to this and you're passing to Bundy, just contact me. We can come down to a nice spot like this, or I know other spots further up the river. If it's too windy, we could have gone to Queen's Park, which is behind the base hospital.
Right,
it's a nice place, sheltered away from the wind there. A nice tropical forestry area with green grass. It's really nice in there as well. So that's one place I had an eye on going if it was too windy here. But this turned out to be really good today. One of the best days for filming. It's not blowing a gale for a change.
It's really nice. This is really nice.
It is. It's a nice spot.
It is.
I like it.
No wind. That's
it's
why they're
awesome.
all fishing, because there's no wind.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any questions, wants to know anything, I'm sure Phil probably knows 98% of my system now. If you want to know anything, whatever, get in touch with Phil. He'll get in touch with me, and I can give him the information he needs to help you if you have any questions, of
Yeah,
course.
that's right. I've got your contact details now. So any questions you might ask that I don't know about, then I can check with Dan. And then just ask, comment down below anything you want to know, anything more specific about this. So till then, guys, cheers. Look after yourself. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.